Hello, everybody. I'm so excited that you're here. Welcome to the Hen House, an interview series where I interview amazing creative women in business. And today I have the amazing Heather Criswell, an award-winning author here to chat with us, and we're going to have a great time. So for those of you guys who don't know me, I'm Angela. I'm a creative business strategist for newer online entrepreneurs. And I help women build their business, grow it, market, and of course I'm a passive income creation junkie, and course creation fanatic. So for those of you guys who know all about me already, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So now I'd love to introduce Heather. Heather, tell us all about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. When you were giving your bio, I'm like, gosh, that's what I need.
It was just like
the short version was excellent. So
the short version is so ridiculously long. I got to chop it all up into pieces, but
I hear you. It was excellent. So I'm so glad to be here tonight with you. And, I'm really excited to share time and space, and this is my favorite thing to do, is really connect with people and build and inspire people in so many different ways, and also connect in beautiful ways. So thank you for having me. The short version of my long story is I have worked with over 30,000 kids for the past 25 years. And that's been predominantly my life. In that time frame, I owned a preschool, and then for nearly a decade, and then got really, really tired and went into massage therapy, where I actually thought, I want to work for somebody because I don't want the problems of owning a business. And that lasted 13 days. And this doesn't work for me. And I opened a wellness center after that, where we did acupuncture and massage therapy, and just a full circle place where people could come and feel better. And but slowly but surely, people would start asking me about their kids again. And so I kind of got roped back into that space. And then I partnered up with Taryn Voget. She is the founder of Everyday Genius Institute. And we co-authored a book together on how to raise a happy child and be happy too, with the emphasis of being happy too, that it wasn't just about our kids, it's about us being happy and co-creating a life together that we both enjoy and love. So time has gone on, and I created WiseInside.com, which is all about, at the time, parenting and kids and the book. And then I was given this opportunity to go to a retreat where I had the opportunity to connect with my family that had passed on. I lost every single family member in a 12-year span, including 5 babies that we lost on our own as well, and miscarriages. So it was just a traumatic time on a personal note. And I was given the opportunity to actually connect in with the other side and communicate with my family. And they gave me a lot of wisdom to share and said, you need to write a book. So I sat down and wrote a book in literally 13 days and published it, and it's just come out as well. So that's my life in a nutshell. And what it's all kind of back to is that, we are here in love, with love, and for love. And how can we communicate that love when we're in fear, frustration, sadness, grief, loss? How do we communicate that in our businesses, where we come from a space of, I had a really good experience where I had purchased something from somebody online, and when you want to return it, it's like, I'm going to get this hassle. And she was beautiful. She's like, I understand it doesn't work for you. And after all was said and done, I'm like promoting her everywhere I possibly can because she gave me this beautiful experience. So it's, how do we communicate in our business with ourselves and each other and our families in love, so that we can all get what we want on this planet and share all of our gifts in our own unique way. That's my goal.
Wow.
In a nutshell.
Wow, you are so passionate. That is amazing. I love your story. And it's heart-wrenching to hear the tragedy that you've been through, number one. And that itself is just amazing, that you've that you've actually used that as inspiration to move forward and create something so amazing.
Yeah, and that's what they kind of taught me when I was communicating with them, is that everything circles back to love. And even though it looks like tragedy, even my babies talked to me and they said, we were a placeholder for you. We were there so that you could know that this was possible, but it wasn't the right timing, because what happened was we ended up adopting our son 4 years ago, almost 15 years into our marriage. But they said, my babies said to me that they were placeholders to hold hope for me so that I wouldn't give up, so that I knew, because it was perfect timing for our son to come into our lives and we were destined to be together, the two of us. Now, people will say all the time, like, well, okay, whatever, you talk to your dead family. But here's the deal, right? Like, even if you don't believe it, if it made me feel better about tragically losing my children, or losing my mom and dad at such a young age, and they don't get to see the rest of my life and their grandchild's life, then it serves its purpose, right? Like, it helped me feel better. So that's all that matters. And that's kind of what I want to help people see, is that it doesn't really matter, quote unquote, what the truth is what helps you feel better in that space. And whether you believe in the afterlife or not, there's some wisdom to share in it. And that's what they kind of gave me throughout this book, was that wisdom of how do we see these events in our lives? How do we see somebody betraying you in business and know that it's in your best interest in some way, shape, or form, and see the goodness in it, see the jewel in the mud,
wow.
if you will,
Wow, that's so heart-wrenching and beautiful. Like, I'm just amazed by you already. I can't believe that you've turned something so negative into something so positive. Like, so what kind of things inspire you on a daily basis now?
On a daily basis, I actually take situations that really bother me, and really that before I would have gotten really worked up about or angry about. And I kind of flip it in the sense of, okay, how can I see this in love? How can I see this in love for myself first and foremost? How can I see it in love for my business or my child? How can I see it in love for the other person? So like an example of that is, my son was at a play place and this guy was standing and I was standing watching my kid, and that his little girl happened to be walking behind my son, and my son turned around real quick and they bumped heads really hard, like knocked them both flat out on the ground. And he runs to his daughter and he picks her up and he looks angrily at my son and walks away to like console her, and just leaves my kid on the floor. And I go over to him, I'm like, are you okay? It was an accident, blah, blah, blah. And I go over to him and I say, is she okay? And he's like, it was his fault. He shouldn't have been walking backwards. And I was like, what? And it was this moment of, do I see this in love or do I see this in anger and fear? And first I had to tend to myself of, I'm better than this. I'm a good mom. I'm going to stay calm and cool for my son. I'm going to stay calm and cool for myself. I checked in with my son. Are you okay? It was an accident. You didn't hurt her on purpose. It's not your fault. It was just an accident. We need to pay attention to our surroundings. And then went to him and said, is she okay? And when he was angry at me, I had to be okay with him being angry at me and blaming my son, because even though everybody else in the whole place was like, it wasn't his fault, it was an accident, I had to see it as love for myself first, love for my son, and love for him, that he was just scared and he didn't know how to deal with it. And he didn't know how to express his feelings. And he is unfortunately not doing a good job at communicating. And that's not my problem or fault. And so when we can diffuse a situation, any situation, in business, in life, in your family, when we can diffuse that, then we go, oh, okay. Oh, life's okay. We got this,
Oh my goodness. I love your outlook on things. It's so positive, and I love that about you, because I love surrounding myself with people who think like that and take situations and just turn them around to make it just, it just makes your day better, for one. And when we take, when we take that responsibility for our own feelings and emotions, it changes everything. It changes your whole outlook on your whole life, your whole day, everything. It's interesting.
Yeah, because we could perpetuate it, right? By calling my best friend saying, oh my God, can you believe this jerk? Like, and then calling my husband and say, he was a jerk. And then calling my other friend and then being upset about it and it ruining my whole entire night. Instead of knowing the truth of it, is his intention was not to hurt my son or to shame him. His intention was to protect his daughter. And he didn't do it the way that I would like to have been handled. But knowing that, I can have a compassion for him and an understanding, and yet still not be engaged with him as well. Like, cut my engagement with him. When he was blaming my son, I'm like, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you couldn't see this for what it is, which is an accident. And I wish you well, and that's that, and move on with our day. So, the same in business. When somebody betrays you, or, I went into business in my wellness center with another partner. And when we went to the attorney, he goes, the fastest sinking ship in the world is. And I was like, no. He's like, a partnership. And I was like, eek. That's not what I want to hear from my attorney with my partner right here, And lo and behold, a month later, the ship went down,
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness.
He was right. He was right. And with that being said, we came to a decision that it wasn't working for her. It wasn't working for me. And there was some anger involved. I'm not going to, sugarcoat it. But we did our best to communicate and excavate as quick as possible, like exit the situation as quick as possible. And as less pain for both of us. But it really is, it's a skill to be able to do that. And it takes practice, right? It's really a lot of practice, and the beauty of it is I had 25 years, 30,000 kids to practice on how to communicate and love. Like, most people don't get that experience. So,
no, for sure.
I had that. And if you do anything for 25 years, like, you should be good at it. Like,
well, I don't know. You should be kind of good at it. You should have some knowledge on the topic.
Right, exactly.
So tell me all about your business and your book, and tell me more about what you've got going on with your business.
Well, my business is evolving. It's moving into a space that's a little new for me, and it's expanding and growing. And my company is WiseInside, and WiseInside is all about the wisdom is within us. It's always there, right? And so the goal for us in how I positioned it at the beginning was about parenting, right? Is that the goal is that we take solicited and unsolicited advice and really put it in our heart and soul and say, does that feel right to me? And so what I've done is expanded that vision into not just parenting, but in business, in relationships, in your community. How do we do that where we can take that solicited, unsolicited advice, see what's best for us, act on our own intuition in love, and communicate that in love. And that's really where my business has evolved to. And so, How to Raise a Happy Child and Be Happy Too, the book, has supported parents on their journey with some
I love the Be Happy Too, because if the Be Happy Too was missing, it would be a totally different concept.
It would, and that's been the struggle for me, even in parenting, is always like, sacrifice yourself. Your kid comes first. And yes, if my kid runs in the street, of course, I'm going to throw myself in front of a car and push my child out of the way, and I'm going to die for my kid, period. Like, there's no thinking about that. I'm not putting myself first and saying, well, he might get hit and he'll be okay. I'm better off, that's not what I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is, how do we work together to have communication where I say, that's not really working for me, and here's what's not working for you. Let's come together and let's see what we can do to co-create an experience that feels good to both of us, i.e. raise a happy child and be happy too. It's not a sacrifice, I'm not here to sacrifice. I enjoy working. I am a working mom, and I did stay-at-home mom for the first 3 years that we brought our child home. And it was challenging and hard, and I didn't like it. And, you know, and that's okay, because it wasn't my gig. I love working, and I love my son, and I love working. And there are some people that love being a stay-at-home mom. Some love corporate, some love entrepreneurial. And it's this idea that we can all be ourselves in the framework of our own family, as long as we all kind of work together in that space, right? Where I say to my son, Mommy's got some really important work that she's sharing with the world that's going to change the world, you know?
Well, we want to.
This is Mama's work, you know?
Yeah.
And he supports me in that. He goes, and now it's so funny, you know, I usually work from like 10 at night till 5 in the morning because he's sleeping. And he said to me when we put him to bed the other night, he's like, Mommy, you go to work. You need to work now. And, you know, so he honors that about me, and I don't have to feel guilty about it. I can be in a space of, he understands and he knows I love him, and I support him in other ways. And we do really fun things together, and, you know, all of that kind of stuff. But the idea is that we are co-creating this experience together, that I'm not bound to him for 18 years and then I get to pursue my dreams.
Yes, totally. I agree with that. And it's so interesting when you're passionate and excited about your work, how you feel about it every day on it. Like, it's totally a different concept, how you feel when you wake up in the morning energized and excited to go to work, or work from home, or whatever that is for you, or the dread and the, like, that feeling of, oh, I'm not in the right place at all. And you just know it inside. But whether the people who choose to follow that and make a change, you know, and again, make a decision.
Right.
Follow that.
That's the wisdom within.
Yeah. So how do you on a daily basis, like, maintain that healthy home and work-life balance? The elusive home and work-life balance.
Well, you know, it's funny. I have found some words that I despise, and balance is one of them. It's one of those things that it's a word I sat down for a while, because I would be so hard on myself. I would like create all these schedules and time frames of, you know, I'm going to play with my son, and then I'm going to work on my stuff, and then I'm going to play with my son, and then I'm going to, you know, go have lunch, and then we're going to come back. And I had these whole lists, and I wouldn't get even, you know, the first 2 activities in, I'd break it and be on the phone, and then he's dumped out all his toys, and it's just a disaster, you know? And so I realized that I needed, for me, to set aside balance. That, again, here's that solicited and unsolicited advice, right? Where everybody says online, you need to get up at 5 a.m. and you need to meditate, and you need to write in your journal, and you need to exercise, and you need to do a smoothie, and then wake up your kid. And then, you know, that didn't work for me, especially because I was busy writing a book from 10 at night till 5 in the morning. So my son was sleeping till 9:30, 10, and I sleep from 5 to 10, you know, get a 5-hour window of sleep. So I couldn't get up at 5. I was going to bed at 5. So, you know, it's really defining what is good for you, and kind of cherry picking what feels good to you, whatever anybody says, you know, and not talking yourself into their blueprint, but seeing their blueprint and saying, you know, that'll work for me. That won't. That will work for me. No, not so much. And pulling it. And,
totally.
you know?
And I think every season of your life is a different, it's always different too, that what you consider balanced in this season with a young child or a teenager or this kind of job or this kind of work, whatever that is could look like that's as balanced as it's going to get for that period of time, in whatever balance means for you, right? And it's funny because I've changed from being a really early bird to being kind of and doing the whole like structured stuff, and I thrive off of routine, and I know when I'm off of it because I just don't have the same energy. But all of a sudden in the last year I've become this crazy night owl where I'm getting all my best work done in the evening, and that was never my thing. But I'm more balanced when I do certain things in the morning, but I don't have to like be so stringent on myself. And then at night I'm like, you know what, if I have this like super mojo going on at night where I'm really productive and I have all these great ideas and stuff and I'm on a roll. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, just keep going.
That's my new balance. It's like just taking it a little bit easier. And I've also realized as we age that between like 2 o'clock and probably 6, 7 o'clock are my like kind of that lull of time where I'm like, especially between 2 and 5 before I make supper or whatever. My energy is not good there. So that's not my prime creation time anyway. So why try and plunk through something because you think you should?
Exactly. And because they say that's what's supposed to happen, right? Exactly that. And being open to our ebbs and flows of what feels good to us. And I love that you said that. Like, I check in with myself and I'm like, I'm on a roll. Let's keep going.
Yeah, let's keep going. I'll sleep in the morning, but I'm on a roll tonight.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying, is that let's check into that own wisdom and honor it and be cool with it. You know, that it's going to look different for every single person. And that's okay. You know, I think the idea with people sharing their stories is just to give you an idea of, you know, I kind of did that with religion. You know, I went to different religions over my lifetime and said, ooh, I like that, but ooh, no, don't like that. You know, I take little pieces of everything and created my own spirituality of what I believe and I love, because I was able to see it in somebody else's eyes. And I think that, you know, that's what I'd like people to look at, people that are offering advice and stuff, is that it's just an idea, take it or leave it, you know, my stuff included, you know?
Totally. So do you have a special person in your life or in the past, or a mentor or somebody that has guided you along the way or helped you, that someone significant that's like really helped you push through and create this business?
Well, you know, I think that, like you said, there's seasons of people, right? Like, and that's been my experience over time, is I've had mentors step into the space and then they kind of fall off. Like when I opened my preschool, this other preschool owner, she kind of took me under her wing and helped me along with the regulations and the rules. And because I opened my school when I was 21 and I was fresh. I was naive and fresh and, you know, didn't understand the idea of a lawsuit. I was like, lawsuit? Who's going to sue me? Like, you know.
We wouldn't at that age. We wouldn't have a clue. We just all excited and, you know.
I was pumped. I was like, I can do this. And so I had, along the way, I've had people that have come and gone too. They're not like a steady mentor. And I've had like my godmother that has kind of helped me along the way since my mother left the planet. And of course, dearest friends in business. But again, it kind of evolves. Like what I've learned is that the universe gives you all the people you need to support you in whatever you're doing, whether it's an online business or you want to write a book or you want to create a game or you want to have a child. Like, even when we were adopting, we were introduced by random from another friend to this perfect person that introduced us to the perfect agency that got us our son home. So it's just, I believe in synchronicity. I believe that there are no coincidences, that people show up in your life. And it's not always rainbows and unicorns either, right? Like, you know, my business partner that I failed with, she taught me a tremendous lesson. How do I stand up for myself? How do I set a boundary for myself that when you open a business on November 11th, you can't take the week of Thanksgiving off. Like, you can't do that. So how do I set those boundaries? And so even though it looked ugly at times, she was one of my greatest teachers. And you know, of course, I've had mentors along the way, and even my co-author, Taryn Voget, I met her through a business meetup, and she had created this Everyday Genius Institute. And I'm like, I want to be a genius in her geniuses. And
yeah, me too.
I was like, that's not possible. And then lo and behold, we started chatting. She was asking me questions on parenting for her sister. And she's like, this is really good stuff. I think we could do something with this. And a year and a half later, we released a, 420-page book on it. So I think that if we're open to the people in our lives coming in and not necessarily holding on to them and choking them to death, but really embracing what they have to offer us in that moment and being okay with the ebb and flow of life, that people come sometimes for seasons too. And sometimes it's pretty, sometimes it's ugly, but we're always learning something for ourselves. And it's really evolving us into a better person. However it's showing up for us, we are growing as a person.
It is so funny that you said that, because most people's answer to that, they can think of one significant person that made this impact, but what you just said would have been my answer, because I have had those specific people or friends that have come in at this certain time, like through the universe, and just were meant to be there in that moment for that in particular need that was there. And then some have stayed and some have gone, and they all have had their purpose. And it's so neat to see, because I can't just think of a significant person or a significant coach or my grandparents made huge impacts on me, and all for different specific things that have made me who I am today, and all little bits and pieces that they instill in you, that you gather from all these people, and this knowledge and expertise and skills and talents and gifts and beliefs. And it's really neat that you said that.
Well, thanks. Even the bully that bullied me from 2nd grade to 8th grade, he was significant in my life. Like, he taught me, how do I stand up and own my greatness? How do I know that I'm worth something when somebody tells you repeatedly for 6 years straight that you're worthless, like that you're a piece of garbage on this planet and nobody's ever going to love you because you're fat and ugly, he was important in my life. And when we can own that space of, he was valuable, he served me in a way that made me who I am today. And I'm incredibly grateful for that experience. It hurt. I am not necessarily in the space of even forgiving him, because there's nothing to forgive, and it kind of eliminates this idea that we have to forgive people. When you see it in love, there's no forgiveness needed. It is what it is. The experience might not have been fun and might not have been pleasant, but it served me in a way that created me to stand in a space to help parents and children around the world deal with bullying in a way that feels good, right? That can change the lives of millions of people. So thank you to him. Thank you for being such a punk.
Oh my goodness. This is what an awesome conversation. This is so, tell me now, what kind of exciting things are on the horizon for you or in your business now? What new stuff is going on?
Well, I'm doing a lot of speaking. I'm doing a lot of podcasts and summits and speaking on big stages to share this message with the world. So that's my big thing, is finding venues to speak in that I can share it with the world. And, of course, supporting it through my books and my communication game with parents. And I also do this kind of little side thing, which is I call it Calling All Souls session, where we have like a meditation time together and we connect in with the wisdom beyond. And that could be people that have passed on in your life, or just the collective wisdom, God, energy, love, whatever you want to say, and then come together and kind of compare notes for the hour and 15 minutes, where you can get some real answers to the questions that are bothering you in life, or things that you're like, I just don't know where I'm going, what I'm doing. It's kind of cool to get the wisdom from beyond and to remind you of that wisdom within, right? That we're all surrounded in this beautiful light of love that is supporting us in this journey to share our specific love with the world, however that looks. And it can look as simple as opening a door and smiling at somebody. It can be as big as being on a stage of millions of people and sharing, being a Tony Robbins of the world, right? Like it can look in very different ways, but it's the same result. You're changing the trajectory of lives through love. And that's really the message that I want to share with the world. And however that comes, whether through the little sessions or my books or games or speaking, that's the message that I want to share with the world. So
Oh, this has been so fun. I'm just so I'm so happy and grateful to have you. So why don't you share any special offers or promotions to do with any of your stuff and show us that book again?
I'll show us that book.
Yeah.
So I've created this love bundle. I call it my love bundle.
I like that.
And so you'll get, this is the Raise a Happy Child book. You get the first chapter in this book and the first chapter in my Wise Talk from the Other Side book. So you can kind of get an idea of where the book's going, right? And I have an ebook in there of how to have a feel-good parenting guide where it kind of shifts you from conflict to connection. There's a poster in there, I believe I Am poster that I used to do in my preschool with the kids. And I also have a free Wise Talk with shipping. It's like $7.95 for the shipping.
That's so cute. I love that.
Yeah, it's a game.
This is a board game.
Yeah, that you can play.
Okay.
And it's funny because you can do it for yourself too. So like you just pick a random coin and like the coin corresponds to a letter in the book, uppercase and lowercase. And so for like M is for manners and why do we use manners, all those kind of things. And also M for mean. What does it mean to be mean? What do we do when we're mean? How does it feel? How does it feel to other people? I was mean one time and this is what happened. So
so is this something that you play with your children with, or are you for them to play?
You can play with your children with it, with the family. Some of my people just do it for themselves to see what they need to think about for the day. So it's funny, like, you know, you pull the letter H for honest. Was I honest today? Was I honest to myself? Was I honest to other people, right? So it kind of gives you a self-reflection of that space. So you can find all that on wiseinside.com/love. And that love bundle's there for you. So.
Oh, that's so awesome. Well, thank you so much. And we will put all the links for Heather's goodies underneath the video, and a link to her website, her Facebook page, and all her links where you can find her hanging out on social media. And yeah, thanks again for being here. I'm just so grateful to have you. You're such an awesome lady.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I saw your website. I was like, I want to be in the hen house.
Yeah, it's a clucking good time over here in the hen house. So don't forget, you guys, to subscribe to the Biz Hen House, and you won't miss an interview. And I promise to fix my poor camera that's got really fuzzy over the last couple days. I don't know what's happened. But subscribe to my YouTube channel and the Biz Hen House, and I'll have everything again for Heather underneath this video. And thank you so much for being here, everybody. What a great day. Thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
Bye.